So we have an update on the murders that happened in Portland. Now, there was an Antifa guy who killed this Trump guy, this right-wing guy, and that was a huge story. And then what happened was a few days went by, or maybe a week or so, and the Antifa guy who killed the Trump guy then got killed himself. And now we have an update. This is from the Washington Post. When police last week surrounded Michael Forrest Reynolds, a self-described anti-fascist suspected of fatally shooting a member of a far-right group in Portland, Oregon, the wanted man wasn't obviously armed, a witness to the scene said Wednesday. In fact, according to Nate Dingus, Reynolds was clutching a cell phone and eating a gummy worm as he walked his car outside an apartment complex in Lacey, Washington. That's when officers opened fire without first announcing themselves or trying to arrest him. Dingus, a 39-year-old who lives in the apartment complex, said in a statement shared with the Washington Post. Dingus's account of the September 3rd fatal shooting, first reported by the Oregonian, contradicts details offered by federal authorities who said Reynolds, 48, pulled a gun as members of a fugitive task force tried to arrest him. Two other witnesses also told the Olympian they had seen Reynolds fire a weapon at police. So, there's conflicting reports as to exactly what happened, but it's in the realm of possibility, according to some witnesses, that the Antifa guy was just murdered in cold blood himself. Now, President Trump spoke about this in an interview with Fox News. Look at what he said.
And he shot him cold blood. 2.5 days went by, and I put out, when are you going to go get him? And the U.S. Marshals went in to get him. And in a short period of time, they ended in a gunfight. This guy was a violent criminal.
A lot of them out there.
And the U.S. Marshals killed him. And I will tell you something, that's the way it has to be. There has to be retribution when you have crime like this. There can't be guys standing up that want to fight. They want to fight.
That's the president saying, yeah, extrajudicial killings, rock on. There has to be retribution. This is one of those moments where it's like, you know, Trump being an unhinged person, it's like unacceptable. Because how would any other president handle such a situation? We all know every one of them would say something along the lines of, listen, we're a civilized country and we act based off of principles and rule of law and we have due process. Even though the Antifa guy had murdered somebody previously and he's a bad dude, you gotta arrest him. You gotta give him his day in court. This is how civilized societies function. Any president would have said that. Any president with half a brain, of course, would have said something like that. Would have tried to calm tensions. You know, would have tried to soothe the situation a little bit because we have standoffs in the street between Antifa and, like, armed right-wing groups. You don't want to pour fuel on that fire. You don't want to pick a side. But he did. He did. Said there has to be retribution. We got it taken care of. By the way, there's another video of Trump at a rally talking about this same issue, and he casually says, like, I told them, we're going to go in there, we're going to take care of it. We went in there, and it's taken care of. Talking about this guy being killed. Potentially, he wasn't even a threat to them at the time. They just murdered him. U.S. Marshals doing a hit on somebody. We took care of it. It's going to happen. You got to have retribution. So this is flat out an endorsement of extrajudicial killings in the street from the President of the United States. Guys, this functionally serves as a green light that if you're a right-wing militia, yeah, if you want to take out somebody who's Antifa, we can rationalize it. We can argue it had to be done. We could argue, oh, you're always acting in self-defense. You know? Trump doesn't have it in him to say something like, oh, even though the Antifa guy killed somebody, that's not the way that this country functions. We have due process, and that's the way it should work. You arrest him, you bring him in, they get their day in court, and I hope he gets found guilty and locked away forever, whatever. He couldn't even bring himself to do that. He's arguing for revenge murders. It really is incredible. It really is incredible, man. This is not something... I know that this is said a lot from idiot hosts in mainstream media, but I actually mean it when I say it. This is not like anything any other president would ever say. Endorsing murder in the streets. Almost bragging. In the rally, he did brag about it. I said, we're going to go in there, take care of the problem. We took care of it. So he thinks this was the best outcome. Imagine that there's some sort of secret correspondence where you see Trump green-lighting the U.S. Marshals to murder this guy. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. If that happened, if that exists, for a long time, the degradation of our country was slow, but, you know, it feels like post-2016, but definitely in 2020, it's sped up quite a bit. I still can't get out of my head. There was a tweet the other day that showed, you know how California and Oregon, like the sky is bright red in some places and orange in other places? There was a tweet that showed, you know, the smoky, like red-orange sky in the background, right? And then it showed this little truck that has a bright box on it that is playing an automated message on how to stay safe from COVID-19, talking about, you know, hand washing and wearing a mask. So it's this automated, like, pandemic information truck broadcasting as it drives around, and you see this post-apocalyptic reddish sky with the smoke in it. And the person said, imagine even just a year ago if I told you about this moment and Trump is president. Well, then you have to go back, 4 years, 5 years. But imagine I told you about this moment. This is America in 2020. Sky a color you've never seen it before. Pandemic truck giving advice. Reality star person's president. You wouldn't have believed it. You wouldn't have believed it. You would have been like, don't be ridiculous. Are you crazy? We don't live in a movie. What, you think this is a movie? Freaking, low budget sci-fi movie. Sci-fi film, the Sci-Fi Network. That's real life, dog. We're living it. The president just endorsed extrajudicial murder. Let that sink in.